We've heard plenty about the rivalry between the founders of SpaceX and Blue Origin, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. The two billionaires regularly take swipes at each other on Twitter, and each of them has problems with the other's plan for conquering space. But there is one contender in the match that we haven't been paying attention to: Rocket Lab. Who or what is Rocket Lab? And can they actually compete with SpaceX? Rocket Lab, founded in New Zealand and now headquartered in California, is second only to SpaceX when it comes to launch frequency. Its Electron rocket has flown 18 times in under 4 years and has delivered almost 100 satellites into space. Their newest rocket is the Neutron, a 40-meter-tall rocket that can carry 20 times the weight the Electron can. If you haven't heard of them, it's probably because they're a smaller launch company, but they are quickly edging their way into the big leagues. Today, we're taking a look at their plans and compare if they stand a chance against SpaceX. Sure, it isn't fair to compare, but we're going to do it anyway. But first, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Before we dive in, let's look at why these companies were founded in the first place. SpaceX is owned by Elon Musk, the guy who founded PayPal, Tesla, Neuralink, The Boring Company. You get it. Basically, he owns companies that are all geared towards creating a better future, or a more dangerous one, depending on how you look at it. The Space Exploration Company was founded in 2002 in the hopes of revolutionizing space transportation, with the ultimate goal of making mankind an interplanetary species. In 2010, SpaceX became the first private company in history to send a spacecraft into orbit and have it return safely to Earth. And the reason for founding Rocket Lab is not that far off from SpaceX's. They too want to open up access to space. They enable everyone, from scientists and students to governments and companies, to put their ideas into orbit. Their founders aren't too different either. Elon Musk never had any formal training in rocket science. In fact, he made it big with his fintech company, PayPal. Musk does have a degree in physics though, but nothing in the field of engineering. He taught himself most of what he knows, and anything he doesn't know is filled in by the team of brilliant aerospace engineers he surrounds himself with. Meanwhile, Peter Beck was always interested in rockets, but never attended university. He left home at 17 to intern at Fisher & Paykel, an appliance manufacturing company. While working there, he would use the company workshop to experiment with rockets. He would try to build a piece of his rocket with the resources in the workshop and get other supplies like titanium from the engineering store. The passion was undoubtedly strong. He later worked at Callahan Innovation on smart materials, composites, and superconductors. While working there, he met Stephen Tyndall, who would later go on to invest in Rocket Lab. The company was established in 2006, and in 2009, it became the first private company in the Southern Hemisphere to reach space with its Atea-1 sounding rocket. The company then moved on to the orbital launch business, developing the 2-stage liquid-fueled Electron rocket, whose first flight was in May 2017. The flight was unsuccessful, but they had another launch in 2018, which did prove successful. So, you can see why the two are fiercer rivals than SpaceX and Blue Origin. In fact, Bezos' company is nowhere even near these two, so we can forget about it entirely. Sorry, Jeff. Right now, Musk's ultimate goal with SpaceX is to colonize Mars. He claims that he can fly passengers to the red planet for as little as $500,000 a seat. But this might be one of those times where he overpromises and underdelivers. The laws of economics are sometimes harder to overcome than the laws of physics, and neither has been cracked sufficiently yet to make a Mars mission achievable. But that hasn't stopped him from making plans. In 2017, he revealed his plans to place 1 million people on Mars using their interplanetary transport system, which can carry 100 people per flight. The rocket will have movie theaters, lecture halls, and a restaurant. Definitely more luxuries than the first astronauts to the moon ever got. Right now, an uncrewed Starship is set to launch in 2024, holding cargo for the settlers that will come later. Speaking of settlers, Musk has also made it clear that none of his companies will be creating settlements for the people. It would be up to them or private companies to make their buildings and homes, because he wanted it to be a self-sufficient ecosystem like Earth. Of course, the first people that come there will need a place to live until bigger colonies move in. For that, the Boring Company will create tunnels under the planet's surface to make underground habitats for the astronauts and early settlers. While conditions on both Earth and Mars are somewhat similar, the surface of Mars is not hospitable to humans because of radiation, reduced air pressure, and 0.16% oxygen in the atmosphere. The early settlers will also carry 2 years' worth of food and supplies with them. But soon enough, Musk will push plans for terraforming, so Mars does not have to depend on Earth. To make that possible, it will take large-scale ecological engineering. We already know Mars once had a denser atmosphere and was warm enough to maintain oceans, so terraforming would essentially mean restoring the planet to its past self. For that, the astronauts will have to warm up the planet, thicken the atmosphere, and make the atmosphere breathable. No trouble. All they need to do is trigger a greenhouse effect with ammonia ices from the outer solar system being impacted on the surface. Sounds easy enough, right? SpaceX also plans to build a solar-powered factory that will use the carbon dioxide and water ice in the planet's air and soil to generate methane and oxygen. It also plans to use the Starlink project to provide a communication link between the two planets. We can expect a permanent Mars base by 2028, but that's still a long way away. What's more recent is SpaceX's plan for a tourist mission to the Moon in 2023. Some of their tests of reusable rockets have been successful, but the safety of these space flights is still very questionable. You don't want to compromise on that to save a few bucks. It's all incredibly impressive, and it seems like no company can beat the sheer amount of thought and meticulous effort Elon Musk has put behind his designs for SpaceX. So how is Rocket Lab matching up? They have always been known for launching tiny satellites into the Earth's orbit, but the company does have big plans to venture deeper into space, with its first mission to the Moon set for this year. Thanks to a contract with NASA, Rocket Lab will send a spacecraft called Capstone into orbit around the Moon to test navigating in lunar orbit to help future missions. It's definitely their most ambitious mission yet. They launched their Electron Rocket only last year, and in total, they have put over 50 spacecraft into space, all in the lower Earth orbit. Compare that to SpaceX, which has almost 100 launches under its belt. SpaceX has landed rocket boosters 58 times and has reused boosters for 40 missions. Basically, Rocket Lab might have some catching up to do. But the company has been finding ways to push the envelope. The mission to the Moon will rely on a critical piece of hardware that Rocket Lab has been using for the last few years. It's Photon spacecraft. The cylindrical vehicle sits atop the Electron Rocket, propelling customers' hardware into low Earth orbit. It can also serve as a customizable satellite to carry various payloads and instruments into space. Rocket Lab has added some upgrades to Photon for the Capstone mission, like bigger propellant tanks and a new engine called Hypercurie. Hypercurie is a 3D printed engine that has been slightly altered to provide more thrust. Rocket Lab also plans to upgrade some of the systems on Photon and add solar panels so that the vehicle can last a little bit longer in space. Seems like things are running full steam ahead. Beck also recently announced their reusable medium-lift Neutron rocket, and they plan to fund that next stage by going public on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. Funnily enough, when SpaceX started using reusable rockets, Peter Beck said he would eat his own hat if his company ever built one. Holding to that promise, this video where Rocket Lab is announcing the Neutron also features Beck blending a cap and tasting it. The Neutron is built for large satellites and mega constellation launches, and also for future robotics missions to Mars. Even more exciting is that it's being made to support human flight as well. The company calls it a direct alternative to SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket. Neutron can take over 17,000 pounds to the lower Earth orbit, which means it can deliver dozens of payloads at once, which is useful given the mega rise of satellite constellations. You don't have to look further than SpaceX's Starlink project for proof of that. There was minimal overlap in their goals, but Rocket Lab's announcement of Neutron has changed that. It now puts them in closer competition with SpaceX. Both companies are investing in cheaper spaceflight through the use of lower-cost materials and reusable items. And Neutron's first stage booster will be designed to land vertically on an ocean platform, just like the first stage booster of the SpaceX Falcon 9. Rocket Lab also claims that Neutron will be designed so it can be certified to fly human missions into orbit and to the International Space Station, which SpaceX actually just accomplished a few weeks ago. And of course, both companies are interested in missions to destinations beyond orbit. Neutron will be able to send 4,400-pound payloads to the Moon and 3,300-pound payloads to Mars and Venus. But there are still a few distinctions. Unlike SpaceX with its Crew Dragon vehicle, Rocket Lab isn't building its own crew capsules yet. And they are also not trying to create a global satellite internet service like Starlink, even if their rockets would allow for it. So, given the choice, who are you hitching a ride with to outer space? Rocket Lab's Neutron or SpaceX's Falcon 9? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.